Dr. Shashi Tharoor ji.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I have some concerns, particularly about the National Commission for Indian Systems of Medicine Bill. India, we know, is a land of ancient and diverse medicine systems, and while promoting the idea of a healthy lifestyle, where equal importance is given to physical and mental being, the Indian system of medicine actually manages to focus on the overall wellness of the person, unlike the Western system, which essentially treats specific symptoms to tackle diseases. And also, as we've heard from the Minister, we have amalgamated the profound influences of medical geniuses from other civilizations, such as from Germany, which developed homeopathy, or those from Greece, whose thought-provoking techniques added immense value to the field of Unani medicine. Now, Ayush is doing what it can, but the preventive and curative measures prescribed by our Indian systems, which have originated in the Vedic period, are inspired by nature, and have been prescribed by celebrated authorities over centuries, are still practiced in the homes of our country. Coupled with the use of plant products as their medicinal base and a history of stories of remarkable results, the popularity of these systems all over the country make the responsibility on the government to pass a good bill all the more important. Now, so we know the government in 1995 created a Department of Indian Systems of Medicine and Homeopathy, but our concerns about this go back well before that. The abundant potential that Indian medical systems have to offer at a time of COVID-19, the pandemic, and all the stresses and strains on the healthcare systems of our country means that this issue is all the more important. This is why I'm concerned, Mr. Speaker, that there are 8 deficiencies. मैं संक्षिप्त में बोलूँगा because of the time factor. I'll try and be brief. But there are 8 issues I would like very much the Minister to take a good look at. Number 1, the bill seeks to fortify and regulate the existing medical education system so that it's capable of churning out high-quality medical professionals. And it's prescribed, as he mentioned, the effective grievance redressal mechanism, periodic assessment, and so on. But it has ignored many other recommendations of the Standing Committee in its report on the bill, which I think is a sad reflection of the government's penchant to bypass parliamentary institutions and processes. Number 1, yoga and naturopathy have been excluded. We know the government is rightly proud of its role in popularizing yoga internationally with the United Nations International Yoga Day and so on. Naturopathy is also very well known and practiced in our country as a drugless treatment of disease by applying the simple laws of nature to people's wellness. But this commission, which is supposed to represent an all-encompassing body overseeing all the Indian systems of medicine, arbitrarily excludes both yoga and naturopathy. They otherwise fall under the ambush of the Ayush Ministry, as I understand it. The Standing Committee recommended creating a board of yoga and naturopathy to provide representation to these 2 important fields, but the Ministry has not, unfortunately, done this in the bill. Now, I believe the Honourable Minister told the Rajya Sabha that there would be a separate bill concerning yoga and naturopathy, but then I failed to understand the rationale behind bringing multiple legislation on the same issue when a simple provision in the current bill would have adequately sufficed. If yoga and naturopathy are also Indian systems of medicine, as acknowledged by the Ayush Ministry itself, why is it not included in a bill that seems to cover the entire Indian system? Very important issue because you're creating a convoluted process of multiple legislation unnecessarily. Number 2, sir, the government has not only ignored the recommendations of the Standing Committee, it seems to have basically violated the Constitution in conferring to the central government itself the appellate jurisdiction provided by the legislation. An appeal can be preferred against any decision of this new National Commission to the central government, which will be the final decision-making authority. So while it's understandable that the government has tried to do something to professionalize this, sir, I'm giving you, sir, just 2 sentences on each of my 8 points. Second point, this was that with the principle of separation of powers, sir, the government cannot create the commission and also be the final say on these matters. The setting up of an appellate tribunal has been recommended by the Standing Committee and ignored by the government. Number 3 said there is no examination or training for existing teachers. They've talked about a national teachers eligibility test for postgraduates of varied disciplines, but they do not actually do anything to actually certify the standards of the current teachers of these disciplines. So while including them in an eligibility test meant for students might be unreasonable, some sort of minimum qualifying test and standards before registering a certified practitioner would be in keeping with the professionalism implied in this bill. And since National Teachers Eligibility Test is the only means of becoming a teacher once a bill comes into effect, it would ruin the prospects of any practitioner who has a practical insight of the subject but does not have the degree to pass the exam. Number 4, sir, it leaves wide open the risks of practicing quackery because there are no clear boundaries in the interface it proposes between the Indian systems of medicine and modern systems or allopathic systems of medicine. If you allow practitioners of Indian systems to prescribe allopathic medicine and perform allopathic procedures, you are compromising the entire medical field in this country. I'm surprised that Dr. Harsh Vardhan, as an allopathic doctor himself, would allow this to pass without clarity in the bill to ensure that there is absolutely no way this can lead to quackery. Unfortunately, clause 34 of the bill permits a practitioner of an Indian system of medicine to continue practicing even in the absence of any recognized medical qualification. And I think that this completely is a dangerous signal. I'm sure that the medical profession in this country would be extremely concerned about the risk of quackery following. Number 5, sir, an exit test should not be the only sufficient yardstick to achieve a practicing license. One needs obviously assessment processes which have been circumvented here. Number 6, I see that you are anxious about the time. I'm being very brief. There are arbitrary exemptions for pre-TIB and pre-Ayurveda courses in this bill because it's perplexing to find that candidates desirous of pursuing these do not even have to write the NEET examination. Sir, number 7, I mentioned, sir, during the debate on Ayurveda, we need more research and documentation. This is completely not provided for in the bill, and I request that if we can actually create. Sir, the same rules apply across the board. We need to have a board of research under the National Commission, not provided for in the bill. And finally, sir, there is a failure here to develop systems worthy of international recognition because we have a big challenge in getting Indian systems recognized, sir. I understand you can 2 minutes, not even 2 minutes, half a minute, to be understood and recognized globally. By insisting on certain standards and levels, this omission vitiates the core purpose of the bill. And therefore, sir, by excluding 2 vital Indian systems, yoga and naturopathy, by proposing ineffective entry and exit tests, by most significantly failing to acknowledge the importance of research, I really believe the government fails in its objective to promote the Indian systems of medicine through this bill, and therefore it really should take these suggestions into account, broaden the scope of consultation, look again at the Standing Committee report, and give us an opportunity to transform the sector and make it truly world-class for the 21st century. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.